Hi, here's a non-right angle triangle, and we're given all three sides, and they're just asking us to find one of the angles. Okay, so we want to try and use sine law, right? Because sine law is a little bit easier than cosine law. But notice, if we're trying to use sine law and we're trying to find an angle, we would have to know one of the other angles, and we don't. Okay, so sine law won't work with us. Work for this question. We're going to have to use the cosine law. All right, so I'm going to call this angle A, and if that's angle A, that's going to be side A. And then it doesn't matter which other angle you call B. Okay, yeah, I'm going to call this angle B, so that's side B. I'm going to call this angle C, so this is side C. There's angle C. And then I'm going to set up my cosine law in terms of A, because I'm trying to find angle A, right? So I want it to say cosine of A in the end. So I have A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC times the cosine of A. So what I'm going to do is fill in everything I know, okay, which is that. So the A is 21.9, so 21.9 squared is equal to the B, which is 28.71. But, basically I've just filled in everything I know. Now it's time for the calculator. So get the calculator out. And so here we have, I'm going to do 21.9 and square it. So 21.9 squared is equal to 479.61. There it is. And then I have 28.71 squared plus 26.03 squared. I'm going to add those together, and that's going to give me this. Okay, let's just see about that. Let's just double check all my figures. So 28.71 squared plus 26.03 squared is equal to 1,501.825. Okay, and then I'm going to do the 2 times 28.71 times 26.03. So clear the calculator. 2 times 28.71 times 26.03 is equal to 1494.6426. Okay, and that is multiplying the cosine of A. All right, so I want to get the cosine of A all alone. So I need to get rid of this 1,501.825 first. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to subtract that from the right-hand side. And anything I subtract from the right-hand side, I also have to subtract from the left-hand side. And that gives me negative 1,022.215 on that side. Now I want to get rid of the negative 14,094.6426, which is multiplying the cosine of A. So I'm going to divide both sides by that. Okay, and when I divide this side by that, it's gone. When I divide the other side by that number, what do we get? Let's try that. So I have 0.22.215 divided by that number, and that gives me, now we have a negative divided by negative. Notice I was just dividing positive numbers because these were both negative. I just discounted the negatives. Is going to be positive, and that's going to give us this result, okay, which I'm going to keep in my calculator. Okay, so I have 0.6839 is equal to the cosine of A. I want to figure out what A is, so to get rid of this cosine, I'm going to take the inverse cosine of both sides. So the inverse cosine of this number, 0.6839, is equal to the inverse cosine of A. Now the inverse cosine of A is just A. Okay, so we have the inverse cosine of 0.6839 is A. Okay, once again, time for the calculator. And remember, we're not taking the inverse cosine of just 0.6839, but this whole number that's in the calculator. Okay, so shift cosine, and that gives us 46.84932. It goes on for a while, degrees. Okay, and there we are. And that's our final answer. And that's how to find an angle using the cosine law. What fun. Have a good day.